Hi everybody, and welcome to the second video on our FTC Crash Course Awards and Judging series. In today's video, we're going to be talking about everything you need to know about the Design Award. In our discussion of the Design Award, we're going to be talking about all of FIRST's official criteria for the Design Award, along with how my team was able to be successful for the Design Award criteria. We're going to also help you learn how to present your material to the judges when you get into the judges interview at your first tournament, and we're going to give you some first steps you can begin working on to help you in your process with the Design Award. Alright, and before this video starts, I'm going to do a quick disclaimer to say that because of when this video is being recorded, the criteria for the Design Award might not fit the exact criteria of the 2020-2021 Ultimate Goal Season criteria. That's just because we're expecting changes to come to the judging process, just because of our current situation and everything that's going on. So what we're talking about today might not exactly fit. It'll probably fit with years afterwards. And I don't think we have too much to be worried about, as the base of the award is likely to stay the same, but some parts of the award, like the engineering notebook aspects of the award, might be changed or shortened in some way. With that said, let's jump into how FIRST describes the winner of the FTC Design Award. This judged award recognizes design elements of the robot that are both functional and aesthetic. The Design Award is presented to teams that incorporate industrial design elements into their solution. These design elements could simplify the robot's appearance by giving it a clean look, be decorative in nature, or otherwise express the creativity of the team. The robot should be durable, efficiently designed, and effectively address the game challenge. Overall, the Design Award grades teams on their robot's overall aesthetics or looks, and functionality and durability. Along with those more functional and aesthetic aspects of your robot, they're also going to be judging the processes that are going behind the scenes to deliver that final iteration to your first competition. So not only are they judging the aspects of the robot that you can see in the competition judging room, but they're also judging the aspects that have gone on for the entire season while you're building it and the processes that you took to get there. And one of the big themes we see with the Design Award is that it continuously pushes teams to act, think, and behave like professional engineers. It's the award in all of FTC judging that's going to push teams to be more like professional engineers and kind of have that mindset while they're developing their FIRST Tech Challenge robots. And as our last note for the overview, newly for the 2020-2021 season, the Design Award is now going to be the last ranked award on the advancement criteria. Now, this doesn't mean it's not important, because it's still equally valued in both your Inspire judging and overall. It still counts as an FTC award and is still very valuable. Alright, from there we're going to jump straight into the official requirements for the Design Award. The first requirement, first list, is that the team shows respect and gracious professionalism to everyone they meet at a FIRST Tech Challenge event. Now, this requirement is the baseline for all awards in FTC, and it's that way for a reason. Gracious professionalism is the cornerstone of FIRST Tech Challenge in all FIRST programs. So any team who's winning an award at an event should be exemplifying this trait of gracious professionalism, because that's really what FIRST is. Our second criteria for the Design Award is going to be that the team must submit an engineering notebook with engineering content that includes robot CAD images or detailed design drawings. Now, like I said at the start of the video, we don't really know what's going to be happening with the engineering notebook for next season, so this criteria could be changing for the 2020-2021 Ultimate Goal season. We hope that it'll go back to how it traditionally was after that year, but we don't really know. So I'm just going to explain what this criteria would traditionally mean in a competition before the 2020-2021 season, and we'll break any changes that they do end up adding down in a later video. This criteria, and especially a team's specific use of computer-aided design, or CAD as I'm going to be referring to it for the rest of the video, is one of the largest defining traits of the Design Award. Designing and CADing every part of your robot before it actually gets built and put onto the final assembly is a big part of the award and will really impress judges when going for the Design Award. And your efforts in designing these subcomponents before they're added to the assembly goes even farther if you can document showing those technical drawings and CAD renderings or CAD images as they're happening in your design process. So as you're working through, judges know that you took the step to plan it out before it actually got built later on in the process. And just generally, showing to the judges that you took time to plan out your robot through thorough CAD and drawings shows to them that you're committed to following the professional engineering process. And at the beginning, we talked about how this award is going to push teams to act more like professional engineers, and that's part of that step. They want to see that your team is behaving like a professional engineer would, so you're going through all the steps of that design process. The third criteria for the design award is that the team demonstrates industrial design principles, striking a balance between form, function, and aesthetics. When looking for this criteria, judges want to see that you designed your robot with the intention of mimicking professional engineering standards. And so what this means is that you're going into the mindset of, so I have to make this part both functional and have it look good. So you want to meet both of those categories because like we keep saying, is a theme for the design award, that's a challenge that professional engineers are often faced with. They have to make parts both function well and look good for commercial use. And just an example of what would disqualify you from this criteria is if I'm a judge and I'm sitting in the judging room and a team comes up to me with a robot that is put together with zip ties and duct tape, and there's all this, essentially what we'd refer to as sketchy assembly, that's not going to work well for me. That's not going to put that team's view in my head very highly for this award, because it looks like that team didn't put a lot of effort into making their robot both functional and visually appealing. And just generally, the more you move away from that sketchy factor into the kind of wow zone where judges are looking at your robot and saying, that's really crazy, it looks good, it functions good, it seems like it checks all the boxes, that's kind of where you want to be moving. The next requirement for the design award is that the robot distinguishes itself from others by its aesthetic and functional design. And although this criteria can often get confused with some of the aspects of the Innovate Award, which we're going to have a later video on, it actually serves a pretty useful purpose when determining the design award winner. So really what judges are looking for with this is that you took time to, yet again, plan your robot out, because if you go to a tournament and say there's two robots that look pretty similar, that's going to set off some red flags, because it's generally pretty hard for two teams that who supposedly had carefully planned everything out and designed it to their team's goals for those two robots to look near identical. So that's kind of the thing they're looking for here. They want to see that your robot was built for your team and your goals, not with other teams' designs in the picture or on your minds. The last requirement for the design award is a short but very important one. It is that the basis for your robot's design is well considered. And this criteria essentially just meets with the theme that I've been, you've probably heard me saying that it goes to the team who planned out their work and planned out their designs. This is really fitting with that theme and hammering that into the ground. So what it means by your design is well considered is that they want to see that you took the time to plan everything out, to CAD it out, to draw it, before you skipped to let's grab all the pieces and let's put it together and see how it works. They want to see that you followed each step of the engineering process to the T, so that you could really take time on each one and make sure that your robot was going to be the best that it could be. Alright, and that was the last requirement for the design award, so now I wanted to talk a little bit about how my team specifically was able to help our chances and candidacy for the design award, because we put a lot of work in between seasons trying to do our best so that we could fit all of the criteria for this award. And those improvements really came the summer before the 2019-2020 Skystone season. So before that, in the 2018-2019 season, like the majority of FTC teams, our robot was majorly built of kit parts, and we didn't always plan every part of the robot before we built. There were parts where we thought, let's slow down, let's take it a little slower so we can get this right, but for the majority of the pieces on the robot, we kind of skipped to those last steps like I've been mentioning. And although that robot worked effectively, it didn't really meet the design award criteria the best that it could. So after that season, we set a goal to be able to plan out our designs better in the next coming year. So following this goal, in the start of the next season, we revamped our design process and increased our capabilities to make custom pieces. From there on, our team followed a strict process of designing around problems we faced with CAD technical drawings and careful planning. Our new robot consisted of nearly all custom-built pieces, using our CNC mill and 3D printer that we have available to us, with every function carefully planned, constructed, and iteratively tested. And just as a side note, you shouldn't worry if you don't have the capabilities to custom manufacture every piece on your robot, as that's not really going to hurt your chances of the design award. Sure, a lot of teams do that for particularly judging, but you can achieve some of the same results in the back rooms through just carefully planning out your kit part designs and modifying those parts in ways that you can. My team specifically just chose to use custom parts because it allowed us to be more weight and space efficient. And also it helped us meet the criteria of keeping with a specific aesthetic or visual plan while also keeping our robot functional, as when you use custom pieces, it's a lot easier for you to control what color the materials you're using are, so that way you can stick to a specific color pattern, and that makes making a functional robot visually appealing a lot easier because everything's already on that same color scheme and you don't have to paint or worry about changing that in any way. So in summary, to really enhance our design candidacy, the two big things that we did was enhance our design process, and secondly, we expanded our creation of custom parts so that we could keep to a specific sleek green and black aesthetic while also keeping up the function of each subsystem. And that's a little bit what I was talking about earlier, about how custom parts really allow you to keep your functional robot visually appealing at the same time. And now that you know a little bit more about how you can improve your candidacy for the design award, we wanted to talk about how you can pitch your design material to judges in both the judges interview and back in pit interviews or any other time you're talking to a judge at a competition. So just as a general idea, one of the best ways to show off your careful planning is by showcasing your CAD and technical drawings within the judge interview, pit interview, and wherever else the judges will be able to see them. So you really just want to plaster that all over, because that's one of the biggest things they're going to be searching for, and that's one of the biggest things that can validate that you actually took the time to plan out all of your concepts. Especially if you're using custom pieces, you wouldn't be able to not plan before you do it. So our team specifically pitched our design material by including CAD at every step within the design process in our engineering notebook. So what this looked like was us including CAD at every step in our daily entries. So we would realistically, whenever we designed something or drew something, we'd put that in an entry and it would stay there because that's what we did for that day. Because the notebook is chronological in nature, that shows that we took the time to plan everything before they would later see that we fabricated, assembled, and tested it. Another good thing to include within the engineering notebook to allow judges to see more of your design material is create, like my team did, design appendices. And these appendices were where we listed all of our technical drawings, all of our CAD renders for all of our subsystems. And then we would break those subsystems down in each of those corresponding sections so that judges would be able to quickly see and read how we built our robot and all of our subassemblies based on our planned out CAD and drawings. You know, like I said earlier, we're not really sure if parts of the engineering notebook will be changed for this upcoming season. I'd imagine they will. So luckily there are ways that you can show off your design material outside of the engineering notebook. Particularly, our team made posters and digital visuals to show judges all of those technical drawings and CAD renderings that would normally be in those design appendices or daily entries, and they would be on those posters or digital visuals so that while we're talking to judges, we can verbally explain how we made it and how we took the steps to plan out each component. And we found that having those visuals right next to your physical robot is actually really helpful as well, because they can see how that ended up turning out. So how your planned documentation, CAD renderings, and technical drawings ended up affecting your physical robot that should be in front of the judges at the same time. So that is going to be the end of all of the major content for today's video. And I know I covered a lot of content today, so I wanted to break down a few things that you guys could do to get started if you are rookie teams looking at this design award and seeing it as some daunting, very large task. So I think generally one of the biggest things for the design award would be getting yourself comfortable with some sort of design application, whether that be getting really good at technical drawings or getting yourself familiar with some sort of CAD program. Our team specifically has used Inventor for a very long time, and that's kind of what we've been using to design all of our parts. So getting yourself familiar with one of these methods will really help you when the season starts to start planning everything out, because you'll already have the tools to do it. Then you'll just have to put in the work to actually follow that design process and plan everything out. And next, one of the big things you've probably heard me talk about today is the professional engineering process. So another large thing you'll want to do is research professional engineering processes. That's a big part of how my team made our design process, is by talking to professional engineers and kind of researching and seeing how this is implemented in actual fields, so that that can help us determine how we can apply that to the First Tech Challenge. And just to let you know, we will also be having a video about the engineering design process at a later point. So if you want to stick around, look for that. That should help you guys out in how to really follow with that process and how to help your candidacy for the design award. And the last thing on my list is if you have the capabilities to 3D print or CNC mill / laser cut panels, I'd practice doing that. And if you don't have those available to you, maybe look at finding ways that you can get access to those resources, because they will be helpful in general just for robot efficiency and helping with the design award. But like I said earlier, if you don't have it, it shouldn't be a problem, because you can still meet all of the requirements for the design award without those custom pieces. So that is everything we have for today's video. So I hope you learned something about the FTC Design Award. I know we put about as much material in it as we could. I'm sorry if it was overbearing. But yeah, if you aren't yet familiar with a CAD program like I was talking about earlier, we do have a design series here on FTC Crash Course that you guys can check out. We'll be taking you through the basics of specifically Inventor and some other like MakerBot and Cura softwares, so that you guys can begin making custom parts and part assemblies to plan out your robot when it comes time. So with that, I will see you guys next week.